Well, a pleasant and wonderful good afternoon to all our viewers right here on Cloud9 on ACT on The Voice. This is 5 at 5, your top 5 stories to 5 p.m. In our first story this afternoon, well, there seems to be no slowing down of the murder rate for 2018. As of today, we have recorded our 68th murder, with 2 murders overnight. The murders took place in Diego Martin and Santa Cruz. The deceased have been identified as Kendall Dowden and Brian Phillip, a.k.a. Horses. In the first incident, Dowden of Sison Trace River Estate, Diego Martin, was said to be at his home around 5 p.m. with relatives when someone called out to him from the road. He proceeded outside where he was seen speaking to someone. A white Tida was nearby waiting. Moments later, shots were fired, and the assailant jumped into the waiting vehicle and sped off. Dowden was later found in a pool of blood. He died on the scene. In another incident, hours later at 11 p.m. in Santa Cruz, police says Philip was at the Acal Trace Santa Cruz home of a female friend when he left the premises for a short while. To her surprise, Philip returned shortly after, bleeding from his back. The woman took Phillips to the nearby fire station where he was treated to help stabilize him, then taken to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. Sadly, he died while undergoing treatment. It is believed that he may have been a victim of robbery gone wrong. Investigations are continuing into both murders. In some other news at this time, with every passing second, the family of a missing Carapa woman is just watching the hands of the clock go by, hoping that their loved one who went missing will call and say she's alive and well. This after her burnt vehicle was found early this morning in Caroni. It was their appeal on Facebook that led to the discovery of the car after someone stated that they saw a vehicle matching what was described by relatives burning in the area on Saturday night. Corinne Singh's relatives said they made a report to the St. Joseph police station, but patrol officers subsequently visited the scene and denied that the car matched the description of the vehicle. However, not satisfied, the woman's family members returned to the vehicle and matched it to the chassis number on the certified copy and, well, it was a match. The public is urgently being asked to share any information they might have on Singh's whereabouts. Singh reportedly told relatives she was going to the mall around 4 p.m. on Saturday, but has not been seen nor heard from since. At the time, she was driving her car, a white Nissan Tida, license plate PDM 1393. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is urged to contact 555-999 or 800-TIPS as soon as possible. In other news, within the last 2 years, 5 fathers have reported their children being kidnapped by the mothers and taken to other countries. 3 of that 5 was last year alone. The frightening part is that there are many more in this country that are not reported, and with a fair reason. Many fathers do not believe the court will give them the time of day. President of the Single Father Association, Rondell Fields, said due to the fact that parental kidnapping is not a crime in this country, many fathers are left in the cold. Today, another case was brought to the attention of the association by Mr. Theodore Best. Last year, June, his son's mother, who is originally from Guyana, cunningly took their son TJ from right under his nose, he says, while his son was playing in the yard at his home in Sandy Grande. At the time, they had broken up, and TJ was in his care as directed by the courts.
To go with server, and like she passing to go with server, and once he see she, he would go to she. And that is it. That was the last time I see TJ.
Right, so explain something to me. So TJ playing in the road. You leave TJ outside playing with the family and whatever. And mommy pass in a car, an unknown car in a car. You see TJ see mommy, she opened the door, TJ gone in the car. And that was it. TJ gone after that.
That was.
She missed the second hearing, and that was it last time.
Yes.
After 3 weeks after, you tell me TJ in Guyana.
Yes.
Since she was in Guyana, I mean, you get at least access via Skype, you get to see him, you get to hear, she give her explanation.
Well, how I get to see him is that when Omar call, when he are wrong, that's why I get to see him on WhatsApp, the video call.
Right.
Other than that, if I ask she for a picture, she don't send it.
Fields says this continues to be a very troubling trend in Trinidad and Tobago, with women getting away with just another type of murder because they are tearing at the hearts of these fathers.
And that is why I find very troubling. I find very troubling that someone could just pick up a child. What's the age of your child, sir?
4 years old.
4 years old. Pick up a child. At that time, he'd have been about 3.
3 years.
Take him to a consulate. Then say, at the end of the day, here what? I can't find the father for this child. Not even check to see that an ongoing matter is before the court. Not even check to see if the father is alive and well. Not even check to see if the father has given consent. Knowing that the child has no passport for some reason, which may send an indication that the father not given consent for a passport to be issued for the child to be carried out of the jurisdiction. Yet again, we saw it happen with Mr. Hafiz Purmasad. We saw it happen with Mr. Richard McCain. We saw it happen with Mr. Gary Hughes. We see it happen with Mr. Theodore Besser. So many names I start to call.
And that's only the ones we are aware of.
That is only and there are a lot more.
Interesting. In some other news, the body of a man that was found on the side of the road in Pinal early this morning has been identified as 37-year-old Simon Cyrus of Rampersad Trace, Pinal. Initial reports suggested that the cause of death may be a hit and run, but an autopsy will have to be conducted before a definite cause of death can be given. According to reports, around 5 a.m., officers from the Pinal police station received information that Cyrus was found lying at the side of the roadway near his home. A team of officers responded to the report. However, the 37-year-old father of 2 had succumbed to his injuries before their arrival. The body was viewed by a district medical officer who made certain pronouncements before ordering the body's removal to the Forensic Science Center in St. James. It was noted that there were no CCTV cameras in the area where the accident occurred, and as a result, the public was urged to contact the police at 647-488888, 647-1232, or 555-999-800-TIPS if they had any information which could aid in the inquiries. And our final story for this afternoon, well, disgraced ex-sports doctor, if you still wish to call him that, Larry Nasser has been jailed for another 40 to 125 years for molesting young gymnasts. It's interesting. Nasser already faced a lifetime in jail for 2 prior sentences for sexually abusing girls at USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University. The judge said while it ends Nasser's criminal legal proceedings, it does not end the emotional and physical suffering he has caused. The number of women who accuse Nasser of abuse has grown to more than 265. Yeah. With Monday's sentence, Nasser now has been given at least, get this, 300 years in jail for his crimes. Good luck, brother. He was sentenced to 60 years in prison on child pornography charges in December and received up to 175 years in jail on sexual abuse charges in January. This case, which regarded abuse at the Twisters Gymnastics Training Center, follows weeks of emotional testimony from scores of young athletes. More than 200 women in total have delivered impact statements on his abuse in both hearings. Quote, "It's impossible to convey the depth and breadth of how sorry I am to each and everyone involved," Nasser said in an apology on Monday. "The visions of your testimony will forever be present in my thoughts." But Judge Janice Cunningham dismissed his remarks, saying, "I am not convinced that you truly understand what you did was wrong and the devastating impact that you have had on the victims, their families and friends. Clearly, you are in denial. You don't get it." Well, 300 years? I think at some point in time before he dies, he will. 300 years. I think he might opt to just, give me the chair. Yeah. It's a lot of money. Anyhow. 300 years. Lucky the man survived 50. But again, it just goes to show the extent of how they view this case, and I don't blame them, quite frankly. But that's interesting. 300 years. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue our program this evening. I want to talk about a young man. We've hardly had many uplifting stories lately, and he has been making waves across the social media on Facebook, and I really had to highlight him today. So when we come back, I'm sure you know who I'm referring to. If you don't, you'll find out when we return.
This is Apostle Judy Karim of the Greater Love Christian Center, inviting you to join us every second and last Tuesday of the month on ACTN The Voice, as we bring to you the Word of God that will challenge you, bless you, and take you into your greatest life ever.
And welcome back to Cloud9 on ACTN The Voice. So let's go to a wiser segment at this time, and it's really refreshing, I must say, to start off the week with something to truly make you smile. All right, so let's go now. Now, this young man, we've been seeing so many negative reports and stories about young men who are living a certain lifestyle. And this man decided to take charge of his destiny and his future. And, someone captured it on camera, and he had no idea how far this would reach. Well, it not only reached, our television, on our phones, and all of that, but it penetrated straight into our hearts. Let's take a listen.
1, 2, 3. Right.
Good morning. My name is AJ Aberdeen. I have my own personal pepper garden. And what inspired me to start to sell peppers? I have youth today. It's have who on the block will be selling ganja, which is illegal. It's have who want to break houses and distress people. I don't done that. I want honest money, so I come out there to sell a little peppers.
All right. So do you work in the garden yourself?
Yeah, I plant my own things.
Together with your family?
Me alone.
Oh, so who?
Look, my friend if you feel alive.
Your friend? You have your own garden?
Yeah, I plant.
Yeah? So are you inspired to do a crop in your garden too? Oh, you gotta try. He's doing a good thing. So mommy and daddy helps you?
Not really.
Your brother and sisters help you?
I alone, my own.
Where you got the idea from?
My uncle, that's planting.
You have an uncle?
He don't plant in my garden, he on his own section.
Oh, up inside Santa Cruz?
No, yeah, Lacano there.
Lacano?
Yeah.
All right. Do you study your work hard?
Yeah.
What you came out in test?
First, auto mechanics.
First in auto mechanics.
Yeah.
How you did in maths and English?
Well, maths, I got 43% in maths, right? I got 62 in English.
All right, awesome. And science?
Science, now, we don't do science.
You don't do science?
We doing TD, maths, English, and geography.
How you did in geography?
I passed geography.
How you did in TD?
TD, well, I catch my tail in TD, because I can't really draw.
You can't draw?
No.
So,
I learning.
So what is it about practice?
Practice makes what perfect.
Excellent. So if you can't draw and having a hard time, maybe go to the art teacher.
Can learn.
To teach you a thing or two in art, break time, lunch time, to perfect your TV skills.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Good. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, I wish I could be a professional technician with my own garage, doing straightening and painting with mechanical stuff.
Amen. Now, what advice you would want to give people, young people your age, young children and youths?
Well, when I want money, get hard working and honest money, stay in school.
Stay in school.
Yeah.
You want to say that again?
Stay in school, look for honest money.
Honest money.
Yeah.
Good. You will be successful. Say, I will be successful.
I will be successful and so can you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Give me a bounce. Thank you.
His name is AJ Aberdeen, and we really want you to join the discussion this afternoon and how you felt about this interview. What are your thoughts? What do you think should be done for this young man? Because if it's one thing we see time and time and time again, is that these stories are highlighted. This is the thing. These stories are highlighted. You get the follow-up once people say, yes, we're going to invest. And then, you know, that talk becomes like dust in the wind and nobody. So I'm going to read some more from a story that was done here by The Guardian. And what are your thoughts on the interview? You know, join the discussion on online. And what do you think should be done to really make this boy's dream a reality? Because that's the problem. And I will get into that a little later on. It's something that we discussed during the last few days. And it came up with Pastor Mwale Henry about, you know, what do we do? Do we follow up with our words and put feet to our words and really invest in young people? That is the key, right? And you have many of them who are, you know, what you call they're waiting. There's no consistency. They're there waiting to see who will really come, and nobody comes. It's just like a one-off thing. So let me just read the story, give you the context a little more about this young man. And again, what are your thoughts on the interview? And how do you think we should really help this young man and other young men like him? And I have another video to show you as well. So a San Juan schoolboy became a social media sensation after advising other young people to choose making honest money. And I think he has something called the honest money movement, right? Instead of selling drugs and breaking into people's homes to make a living. The video, which is just under 3 minutes, as you saw, was filmed outside the popular Uncle Bedo's supermarket in San Juan, where the young man who identifies himself as AJ Aberdeen was selling peppers. In the video, Aberdeen said that he grows the peppers himself. Good morning, my name is AJ Aberdeen. I have my own pepper garden. And what inspired me to start to sell peppers is that if it have youths today who want the block selling ganja, which is illegal, and it has those who want to break into houses and distress people. I'm not on that. I want honest money. So I came out here to sell peppers. Aberdeen said he got the idea to start his garden from his uncle, who is also a farmer. Aberdeen, who attends the San Juan North Secondary School, said he plays first in auto mechanics. He then talks about other subjects he's doing, including his difficulties in technical drawing. He said, when you want money, get hard working and honest money. Stay in school, and look for honest money. Aberdeen wants to be a professional technician with his own garage when he gets older. And within hours of the video being posted, had about 14,000 shares, over 7,500 reacting positively to it. Now, let's get this. Let's do the math, right? So we have 7,500 reacting positively via words of encouragement. And that's good, right? But how now do we going to follow up on those 7,500 words of encouragement and putting action to it? And that's the key. Because the one thing that we do not have in this country is consistency. And that goes across the board. How are we really going? Let me tell you something. This is like a domino effect. If youths see that, okay, that people are really coming out and supporting this young man in his venture to be a businessman, and not just invest with words, but by deeds and by their actions, it is going to have a domino effect in that whole trust area that many people don't have anymore. They don't trust because people say they'll do and they don't. They don't follow through. Do you know what kind of rippling effect that's going to have? Because at the end of the day, we are all, and I heard that today from someone who called on the radio, one of the radio stations this morning, and I really liked what he said. Our president-elect, Ms. Paula May Weeks, she made a statement that this country has failed young people. The system has failed young people. So unless the system is made up of robots and androids, then therefore I believe the system is made up of people. Flesh and bones. Yeah? So if the system is made up of people, people who are supposed to have ideas, and people who have a vision, and people who were called to a mission, then why have we not made our position very clear for our young people? Hear me? So we blame the system, but the system, they are made of people who are there to make a change. And the change and the system is not just about those in authority, you know, or in terms of who, and when I speak authority, I'm meaning those in government. No. The system, but there's something. A mother has authority. A father has authority. The elder in a community has authority. A brother or sister has authority. The point I'm making, we like to talk about who in the shirt and tie, and this office and that office, and who's the prime minister, MP, councillor, lawyer, the people in this particular unit or this agency or that agency or in the school system, and everybody who have authority. But as parents, I think we sometimes forget that the first authority in a child's life is you. It's you. It's you. Not everybody. And if you, as the first authority figure, do not take hold of who you are in your child's life, and then you want someone else to do it, then therefore that child is still now trying to figure out their identity. Not everybody is as strong as AJ. Yeah? And he still has, from what I gather, a strong family unit. And there are others who don't have that and they've been able to survive. My bottom line is, you have the authority. Stop talking about this. No, don't get me wrong. The president-elect is correct, the system. But the system is not this myopic view some of us have about what the system is. Let's take this call on the line. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Cloud9. Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
I just want to say that I agree with everything that you are saying. And I really don't like when we say that the country is not doing anything for young people, because there are so many opportunities out there,
right,
and young people are not taking advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is true. I do agree with that. There are opportunities there, but the thing is now, what we have now is not the proper channels at times. And this is what happens. There is, between the opportunities that are given and reaching certain communities, sometimes there is a gap. And it's that gap that needs to be bridged. Because I remember many people would come on this program and they would talk about, you know, they have these things going on, and then we'll get caught and say, I didn't even know they had these programs, because there is a gap there that needs to be bridged. Because sometimes the means and access of getting to some of these programs, some people don't have it or they don't know. This is why I always made the point that public education is critical. It is critical, right? And when I say critical, it's on all parts. We need to come. This is why I always leave this platform open for people to come and speak about the things that they are doing and the things that they have. Because the media has the responsibilities as well, to ensure that the information, and that's what I'm saying, we would spend 4 or 5 pages in the newspaper to highlight how many murders, but you won't take those first 5 pages to highlight what program this particular agency has or this government body has. You won't do that and give details. So I agree. Yes, there are programs, but the dissemination of that information at times over a period of time is what you don't see at times. So that is where that's where the media now has some level of responsibility that they need to take in terms of getting that message out there and the means and access of getting that information, right? So going back to, and thank you for your call, going back to that point of the young man. So we have a situation right now whereby we are not sure who is the authority figure in our lives, many young people. So they are left now, and we have to understand that there is a breakdown in our system. Whether you want to deny it or not, there is a serious breakdown in our system and how we view what is success and what is not success. Now, I listened to the interview with the guy who did the interview. I don't know who he is, and I want to congratulate him. But something struck me, and this is where, again, he mentioned about how you're doing in science. And when AJ said that they don't do science, he seemed taken aback. Right? Now, in some of our minds, we believe that if we don't do a particular subject, or if we don't do a particular course in school, then that defines or shapes who we are. And at the end of the day, if we understand the how that God is not someone that you can put in a box. So what we need to be very careful in doing, and this is not, again, this is complimenting the interviewer, but also is making a point. What we also need to do is that when we are sowing into children's lives, that we don't put them in a box that, okay, if you don't do this, then therefore, and things might be a little hard. No. Because, and that's why I said a recession is sometimes a blessed thing. Because what a recession does, it opens up our mind to the possibilities of the different things we can do. Not everybody could be doctors or lawyers or scientists. This young man is a brilliant young man, whether he's doing science or not. Right? So what I want to take you now is to a second video by AJ, where he is doing something else. Now remember, he mentioned that he wants to be an auto mechanic. He wants to open a garage. So you know what? He also does that on his side as well. Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, it's a name what sounds like AJ Aberdeen again. Are we on the Honest Dollar movement? And I hope this one can encourage plenty more youths and inspire plenty more youths to be on an honest, get an honest money and on that. Yeah, let's see what Robin, special that is a microphone. Feel as that thing, guys. Kia walking on brand name car.
Yeah.
Man, buffing like a boss. Like a boss. But when I live in South, but I go pass you someone. Yeah, take a little buff. I might need more than a buff, yes. Trust me. Right. But, we're going to take a short break. Remember, again, join the discussion on Facebook. You can also give us a call at 652-4855. I really want to hear from you. What can we do for this young man? And the last caller, yes, I agree that, as she said, yes, more. There are things out there, and we need to stop blaming the system and the system. The system lies with us. And I think we need to get stop scratching this about this system thing. Again, the first authority figure in a child's life is the father and mother. End the story. You see all of this talk about, oh, the system and the system and the system fail me. Give me a break. Let's take a break.
This is Apostle Judy Karim of the Greater Love Christian Center, inviting you to join us every second and last Tuesday of the month on ACTN The Voice, as we bring to you the Word of God that will challenge you, bless you, and take you into your greatest life ever.
Welcome back to Cloud9 on ACT and The Voice. Join the discussion this afternoon. What do you think should be done for this young man and for others like him who have been really, going against, as they say, the norm that we've been seeing in society lately with young men who've been really pushing and striving to do well. Right? We talk about all sorts of different things, and we're not. This is where I want to hear the voices. This is where, again, the 7,500 people would have said, great job, well done. Okay, what would you advise that we can do? Not just the system, because remember, we are all part of the system. We are all part of the system. We all have a voice. We all can do something to help him and others like him who, as the lady pointed out, who called earlier on, who can benefit from the various programs out there. What we have to do as the media is be that link. Because as I said before, I've seen many times where people will come on the show and they will say they went to a particular media house, didn't get sufficient airtime, or they wouldn't highlight this event, or they didn't. So you find out there is that break in communication with several, and it's not just about government program, but there are other private entity programs that do not get highlighted for one reason or the other. I don't know, right? But I'm asking, what do you think should be done for this young man and for others like him? We're also going to, now we're supposed to go so long with this, but I think it's really important. It's really, really important because, again, I do not want a situation, again, where we see we have what you call the 9-day syndrome. We all hyped about him. And then after that, you hear nothing about AJ again. And others like him who the media has highlighted before. That, again, it must be followed through on a consistent basis. These young men have giftings. They are brilliant. We need to nurture it. Not just water it for a day, but we water it consistently. A tree will not grow if we water it for one day for the week. It has to be watered consistently for it to grow. And after a while, what happens? You don't have to water anymore. You know why? Because it could sustain, the rain will fall, and water and sun and all of that. But in the early stages, you have to help water that plant. It is why God places us in this place of relationship. So like and look at it. I mean, it's a very simple analogy. When you have a baby plant and you have, even though there's a rain, you still have to ensure it stays straight and all that. You mold it, you make sure that you pour the water, and eventually as it grows, the rain will do the rest. And everything. And that's how we have to see with these young people. They have to be nurtured. So again, you can send your comments on Facebook. Let us know what your thoughts are. We're going to make contact with Mr. Wayne Chan because I wanted to discuss in a few minutes about a video that we showed last week of a young man from Port of Spain. I learned that he sells clothing and so forth in the I think that's on what they used to call the drag mall back in the day in Port of Spain. And he was making reference to or commenting on the prison break. No, yeah, right. And this is something we like to ignore as well. On not the prison break, sorry, on the the beating that took place in the prisons. People, of course, comment. There were some who were here or there with it, the others who were totally against it. And I want to get Mr. Wayne Chan's comment on it and how we have been viewing our rehabilitation system in terms of our prison system in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, head with system again. The system involves all of us. All right. So we're going to do it this time. We're going to make contact with Mr. Wayne Chance. All right. And then we're going to get his views on crime, politics, and of course, the church right here on ACTN The Voice. We'll be right back after this very short break.
This is Apostle Judy Karim of the Greater Love Christian Center, inviting you to join us every second and last Tuesday of the month on ACTN The Voice, as we bring to you the Word of God that will challenge you, bless you, and take you into your greatest life ever.
Welcome back to Cloud9 on ACTN The Voice. Thank you for staying with us. What we're going to do at this time, I'm going to just play you just a portion of that video from the young man that we played last week. Just a bit the context, what he said, and what we'll be discussing with Mr. Chance in just a few minutes on the line in relation to prison rehabilitation. All right, so if you have that video ready, all right, let's go to that video clip now.
The jail is supposed to be an institute of rehabilitation, right? What kind of act is that all show in the world? That is all of the street people, right? I know Trinidad have a system that you're guilty until proven innocent, right? Because the other way around now, boy, it's not innocent until proven guilty because they just treat you like a criminal. For a weed case, they just treat you like a criminal. Doctors, lawyers, people in high society smoking marijuana. But if they find a black man or a poor man with a nut of weed this small, they lock you up. It's nothing called community service again. It's not them thing in the court. They let you pay a fine and they tarnish your character, right? So you're guilty until proven innocent. That's why I can't understand, right?
All right, so that's just a little taste of what that video made, again, shared quite often on social media. We have on the line at this time the founder of Vision on the Mission, Mr. Wayne Chance. A pleasant good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Sheldon, and your listenership.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate being here live with you this evening.
No problem at all, sir. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you had the opportunity to, there was a video on social media after what took place at the prisons with the, the prisoners being beaten and so forth, where a young man who was inside at one point in time, but it seemed as though he is saved and everything now. He was just reflecting, and he says that, the prison officers themselves and those in authority, they are part of this dark system that they claim that the prisoners are the only ones that are guilty. he was making reference to the point that when you have prison officers who are literally, they have these prisoners in bondage by the things that they do illegally, and then the prisoners look as though as they are the only ones wrong. We have heard this time and time again. What are your thoughts on that video of what took place and the whole concept of this whole thing about prison officers whose hands are just, who are even more dirty, as they say, than the prisoners themselves?
Well, let me start by saying that there has been a new appointed commissioner of prison by the name of Gerard Wilson. Mr. Gerard Wilson is an officer prior becoming commissioner.
Right.
I have seen operate in and out the inmates and officers population, and I think he has been pronouncing on what has transpired in a way that really bring clarity. And I say that to say my comments is not too far from what he has put into the public domain as it relates to the challenges that faces the inmates and the challenges that faces the officer, the rogue elements that is within the prison service, as well as the different gang members that and criminals in the context that try to continue to run their route, their business, or whatever they are in while within the walls of the prison system. So it is a challenge. And what we saw in the video, there is no way some of the actions could be justified. We saw where officers would have acted in a way that, raised a lot of alarm in the public domain.
Right.
But try to say, look, that on the part of officers, that the inmate also very, very, at times, certain groupings, certain circles within the prison could be very opposing, very, how to call it?
Rebellious. Rebellious?
Rebellious, yeah, to the rules and regulations of the prison system. It's not easy. I don't know if you would have saw a recent video as well, where a search was attempted to take place at MSP, and where inmate, it's circulating on social media right now. But it's the other side of what we saw recently in the public domain, also via social media. But this is not to justify actions that were taken by officers on the day in question. But this is also to say that here it is, an officer's gone to conduct a search in those particular area of the prison where you may have inmates of a particular ink. Throw feces and urine into the officer's face, right? Cussing and pointing their hands into the officer's face, when in fact officers who join the service sign up to work with inmates, particularly those officers that work in remand. It's a whole different prison management, opposed to persons who are convicted. The broad word is used, prison, but the prison has different classification, and those persons who on remand, they spend the time differently opposed to persons who are convicted. So it's a whole different culture altogether. The remand life is far different to convicted prisoners' life in prison. Two different culture existing in the same environment, the same, behind the walls, but it's two different culture. So
Mr.
it
Charles,
is not easy.
you have spoken about this issue for many years. You've been on the program as well with me over the years. And we always talk about the rehabilitative process. And that is something that Vision and Mission, that is their mission. However, that is a mission that also must be undertaken by the prison system. I know Mr. Garth Sinclair, he has expressed his concern about the lack of that. There have been models that have been used in the UK and the US, because you're right, because the gentleman in the video also made the point that honest prison officers will sometimes be innocently killed, because sometimes prison want to send a message because of what's been happening in terms of what they've been seeing. So yes, we have a situation that is very poisonous to the innocent individuals who are part of the system. Now, we have these models before us. You've expressed that as well. And we know, we've always said that there has to be a political will and a spirit to do things. We have the models. We know what we need to do. Number one, what has caused such a delay over the decades? And number two, you mentioned the new commissioner of prisons. Do you believe, based on your interaction with him, that you're going to finally see a change coming in our prison system?
I strongly believe so from my interaction and what I have known of him coming up the ranks.
Right.
So I have that faith that he's going to continue. I know sometimes when people are given new portfolio responsibility, new levels of leadership, things can change. But I have not seen that from Mr. Gerard. As a former inmate and one who worked in the system, I want to say that I have confidence at this time and in the leadership of Mr. Gerard Wilson to bring about the necessary change and reform, both with officers and inmates within the Trinidad and Tobago prison system. It's not going to be an easy one for him because there is a mafia that exists within the prison. There is a trade that operates within the prison. There is officers who make a living of the vulnerability and the needs and desires, so to speak, of inmates. A big trade. A phone like a smartphone is $10,000 and $15,000 for a smartphone in the prison. And these monies are not paid like an inmate at times may not have that money in his cell. There may be instances, but a lot of times an inmate would allow his family to deposit that money into an account or somewhere where the officer might be able to access it, and then the phone comes. Right. So with that kind of lucrative opportunity that exists, there are officers, sometimes based on their own needs, based on their own challenges, to make their ends meet, are sometimes succumb to those bidding within the prison, right? There are a lot of opportunities, monetary opportunities that present itself within the prison. And you are seeing the kind of situation revealing itself in terms of a prisoner going in a police station to use a washroom and cannot be found. All those things, I would say, allegedly, situations where people are succumbing to the bidding of the criminal elements or those who have the wherewithal. And as long as those things exist, any commissioner who is bent on reforming would have a challenge on their hands to bring about, because the prison has shifted long time, Sheldon, from a retributive model to a restorative one that looks at how do we rehabilitate this person so that he can return to the community and no longer be a threat. And not come to prison to be beaten, to be punished, but to be transformed. There are officers who have not bought in to this new model, have not bought into this new process. They are accustomed with the brutality, kick off, bust ahead, rock so, right? And whereas in this new approach, it is a more humane, correctional approach. And and there are officers in Trinidad and Tobago from east, west, north, and south, young and old. There are young men who come into the prison, join the service, and then come in to change people's lives. They come in because they promise a pension, it's a guaranteed salary.
And many
it's
public
not
service
about
would jump. I say as in many cases in the public sector, yeah, we know that.
Yeah, so it's not about what is the mission and vision of the prison service, and that's a challenge. Therefore, systems have to be put in place to weed out those elements, identify them, and change them as they see fit. That's the challenge of the prison system.
Let me ask you one. I know you were supposed to be on set with me live, but I know you had an emergency, so therefore you couldn't be here. So I really hope that.
And I really apologize for that.
I know how it goes. I know how it goes, but I'm glad you were able to still take our call. My last quick question in a few minutes. I really want to get this out because I know that you are a strong man of faith. And you know, and I had a series of interviews with different leaders in the church, from Reverend Agard, Nicholas Holder. I had a young man, Mwale Henry. I had Pastor Dutton. I want to ask you a question: where is the church in all of this? Briefly, in a few minutes, time we can expound upon it when you actually come on set. Where is the church in all of this, in being the solution or the critical solution?
The church is there. It would be very hypocritical of me to say the church is not there. The church is very prominent in the prison. As a matter of fact, I benefited from the churches coming to the prison. And a lot of transformed life are a result of churches coming to the prison. What has happened is that the church operates now in a new era, but they have not moved as fast as the ground is moving, the elements are moving, and to meet and to challenge the criminal elements from that spiritual perspective. So what is happening is that churches go into the prison and conduct services, and at different intervals have baptism, right? Where men give their life to Christ, get baptized in the prison, continue to go to church services. Some are able to hold their ends together upon release, because upon release, for a number of them, the church is no longer there in a meaningful way.
That's the thing. There seems to be a disconnect when they come out. Yeah.
They get disconnected from the church, from in the prison.
Right.
So church no longer could, because of the nature of the beast, operate only in the prison. The church now have to extend their wings and arms beyond the walls, right? To help this individual now form Christ in the free world. It's easy to form Christ in the jail, but the church must understand, not because one finds Christ, it is a permanent and everlasting situation. One could backslide, backslide into a state of relapse or what have you. So that whole nurturing, that whole mentoring, that whole coaching and discipling need to continue outside the wall of the prison. The challenge with the church is that the inmate coming, or the prisoner coming, or the ex-prisoner coming to the church. So what is happening is that a lot of pastors, this can hit hard here now on your show, a lot of pastors see the person in the prison as a prisoner even outside of the jail. So see, you see the person in the jail is having a prison experience.
Yeah, that woman
but he's not a prisoner for life.
Yeah.
Before he became a prisoner, he was a member of the community. He was a father. Something would have happened that he ended up in prison.
He was not a statistic.
He was a year or so, and then he comes back out to reintegrate and to store or to reset it back into that kind of way of life.
Mr.
So
Chance,
that is the disconnection.
Yeah. I want to thank you very much. I mean, I know we're short on time, but again, when things are clear for you, I mean, we do welcome you on the set at any time. So thank you so very much for your time. I really do appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Sheldon.
No problem. We'll keep in touch.
Bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Wayne Chance, we are out of time. Remember, just to kind of wind things up, we have to start operating like eagles and not fall on the ground. And if it is, you have to understand, eagles take a panoramic view of things. When they come out of jail, there are different elements that are going to affect their lives from far and wide. So we need, as the church and as people who are believers and understand what God is doing, must have that panoramic view as well. And as he said, spread your wings far and wide to get them back into the fold when they are, backslide, as the case may be. So that brings us to the end of our program. Thank you for joining us both on social media. We continue this topic tomorrow, God's willing, right here on Cloud9 on ACT and The Voice. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you.